Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Heldt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Welcome back to the podcast. This week, our guest is Sabrina Cronin, who's the founder of Cronin Law Firm. Welcome, Sabrina.
Hi, Gary. Thank you.
So, tell us about you. I mean, you didn't start out just right away in law. Kind of tell us your story of how you got there.
Well, okay. So I was a music major in undergrad, and I had done a lot of performing and a lot of entertaining. And I went to law school right after my undergraduate, curriculum, but I ended up getting a master's in business as well at the same time. But I still had always performed and done my music and had always maintained that active lifestyle, and that passion was always alive and well. But I decided to become a lawyer because I saw some of the injustices that some of my friends in the entertainment business were dealing with, and that proverbial have something to fall back on kind of thing was in my mind, and I thought, I think I want a little more stable lifestyle. So that's really what made me focus more on my career in law, but I had always done both at the same time.
Right. So, but besides being an attorney now, you also are a life coach?
I am. I do a lot of coaching and counseling relative to different aspects of someone's life, whether it's empowerment, whether it's business, whether it's relationships or co-parenting. It started with co-parenting because I do a lot of family law, but I found some commonalities among all those various areas of a person's life. And it all boils down to how you feel about yourself and self-empowerment and self-esteem. And so it really grows from there.
Right. So what was it that made you get into the family law side of things?
So as a practicing attorney for over 25 years, I had done a myriad of types of law. I started out representing large, insurance companies and medical providers and healthcare facilities. And my law career transitioned from that to doing some more, personalized legal work, whether it was business, family law, criminal law. It sort of transitioned as I changed jobs at different locations. I had worked for a couple large law firms, and then I went in-house. I was a professional employer organization's in-house counsel. And then I went to working for the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office here in Michigan. So I had done a lot of different things, and I did it purposefully to challenge myself because I didn't want to get stuck in one area that so many attorneys do. They get pigeonholed out of really necessity because that's where that firm is hiring. Their needs are at that particular point in time. And my life just sort of transitioned over the years. My personal life kind of dictated some of that. And some of it was really more of my focused goals at the time. And after I left the prosecutor's office, I took a step back, and I took some time to start a family and raise my kids. And I had always been performing along the way. And I started finding that more and more people were getting referred to me for criminal matters and family law matters, more personalized attention.
Right.
And even though I had always done that, here and there spatterings throughout my career, it really became more and more of a focus area for me. And probably because when I was a prosecuting attorney, I represented a lot of victims. And so I learned how to meet their needs, and it really helped me from a personal point of view as well. And as I was growing as a person and I was evolving, I was attracting those kinds of clients more and more and more.
Right.
And then once I decided to open up an office, really hang a shingle, that's when more of those types of clients just started coming to me. It was like that attraction. And now I represent everything from criminal defense clients to family law clients, custody issues, business law clients, and whether large or small companies. We do personal injury cases, civil litigation from both a prosecutorial as well as a defense side.
Okay.
So I have a lot of different attorneys there now that my firm has grown over the years, because my number one goal is client satisfaction and customer service. So, as you know, Gary, we can't guarantee any outcome,
Right.
but I certainly can guarantee the level of service, and I really, really strive to achieve that.
Right. So, in going through, what you've gone through and having, many different, I'm going to say specialties as you've gone, is the family law side of it, is that kind of your favorite? Kind of what drives you towards that? Because I mean, obviously to me that ties in a lot with the life coach side of things also.
It definitely does. And, it became something that I think I just had an affinity for because of my background, because of my personal experiences. I am a single mom of 3 kids. I've been through divorce. I've been through really some tough times. And so I understand, not only from a visceral perspective, because I've felt it, I've experienced it, I get it. I know the difficulties and the challenges, but I also know it from a professional perspective as well. So I can see both sides. And I think it takes someone who is very sympathetic and empathetic to meet their needs of their clients. I know a lot of attorneys who don't understand, especially when children are involved, they want to create such an adversarial environment that it serves the client no good, because once their divorce is finalized and the custody battle is over, the lawyer walks away. It's the parent who has to deal with the other parent, and they have to learn how to manage and co-manage the family unit together. And it's still a family unit. And I think that's what most people don't realize.
Yeah.
In order for children to feel safe and secure, the children have to feel that they are still a part of something. Yes, their parents are no longer together, but that doesn't mean that that their world has to fall apart in the process. And I think so many lawyers lose sight of that, and they want to inflate issues, and they don't get a handle on their clients' emotions. And it's very important for that attorney to really counsel and coach the client so that they are in control and not the client. But unfortunately, clients will look to an attorney for their advice, and that attorney will just want to beat home an issue and inflate something that otherwise shouldn't be an issue, only to, get more fees. I hate to sound so shallow, but a lot of times that's what it is. So, it's unfortunate, because that attorney is really causing so much harm in the long run for their client and that client's family unit as a whole. And those children are suffering. So my passion was born out of the need to protect those children, because I have kids and I know how hard it is for children. Even in a marriage, when 2 people stay together and it's totally dysfunctional. I was raised in a very dysfunctional environment, and that doesn't help either. Just because they're staying together doesn't mean the children are any healthier emotionally or psychologically. So I try to really focus on the kids and their well-being, because children have a hard enough time as it is. They're dealing with all of these pressures and anxieties and depression and suicidal thoughts and ideations. And it's hard for kids. So why parents want to add on to that because of their own selfishness is beyond me. And so I always say, if I can let go of things, anybody can. And it's about letting go, because you can't hold on to that anger and expect your kids not to feel it. So it's about learning how to be a better person from within in order to be the best parent you can be.
Yeah, because I definitely always say, it's not the kids' fault that mom and dad aren't getting along anymore.
Right.
So,
But they want to blame themselves because
oh
that's
yeah,
what kids do, they take it on all themselves, and it's unfortunate, but that's what happens.
yeah. No, I think that that's something that's extremely important for anybody who's listening that is going through, this type of a situation. It's, you do have to think of the total family and not just yourself.
Right.
Because you've done this for a while and you've had, deal with businesses and things like that. How do you, from a, going through it myself in having a business and trying to make sure that you have that balance, not just from the legal side, but from the coaching side, kind of what are the mistakes that you're seeing people that are in business going through divorce? What are some of the mistakes that you see that they're making?
Oh boy.
I
Oh, Gary. Well,
know we don't have enough time for all of them, but
yeah, a lot of times it's I believe that open and honest communication is essential.
Mhm.
And not only with your business partner, but with your life partner. And if, let's just say you've had an established business already and you get married, I believe it's important to talk about the finances. And people get afraid of the word prenuptial agreement or postnuptial agreement. Postnuptial agreement is similar to prenups. It's just done after the marriage. And there are rules and circumstances and, things that have to go into effect with postnups. It depends on your state, but in general terms, that's really what it is. But I think if two people are choosing to cohabitate or share their lives or get married, marriage in particular, because the rules and the laws when you are married are very different from just living together. I think that if you cannot talk about finances and if you cannot talk about an objective if you can't have an objective conversation about a prenup, then I don't believe you should really get married. If you don't feel safe and secure to talk about finances and expectations, then what does that say about the level of emotional intimacy in your marriage? So you need to be able to have these open and honest discussions without judgment. Neither party should feel any kind of judgment by the other person. And prenups aren't a bad thing if they're fair to both sides. If you can openly and honestly say, look, I started this business. I worked my ass off for 15 years before I met you. I believe that we are going to live a long, beautiful life together. I want to be with you forever. But in the event that our marriage doesn't work out, then I believe that this business should stay mine. And it's not to say that I'm not going to give you the revenue or whatever I believe that, that you're entitled to, or spousal support or whatever it is. And you talk about it. You talk about what's fair. You talk about, how the two of you can work things out. But I believe that makes the relationship that much deeper and stronger when you can have those open discussions.
Right.
So that's one mistake. The other mistake is thinking you can do all things and be all things. When people are married, they share responsibilities,
Right.
and the traditional roles can still take place, whether it's the man working and the wife, taking care of the children or the home or the cooking or the cleaning, whatever it is, or the roles are reversed. Oftentimes the men stay home now and take care of the children. So when you're married, you have that partnership, that level of understanding. When you're divorced or going through a divorce, it's hard to be all things to all people. So the quality of life is very important. And I believe surrounding yourself with a very supportive team, that the old saying, it takes a village. You really need to surround yourself with good quality people who have your back, who understand what you're going through, who don't judge you for leaving the office at 5 o'clock to get to your kid's baseball game, whatever it is, you need to set your priorities, and your business might suffer for a little bit, but you'll bounce back once you get the rhythm of your new life and your children's lives. And it can be a beautiful thing. If you've been used to working, and then all of a sudden you have to be a co-parent 50% of the time, then you'll rise, you'll do it, and you'll just figure it out as it goes. So, I think, Gary, I have so many stories. Obviously we don't have enough time to get into everything, but
Right.
yeah. So just be patient with yourself.
Right. I think that, that sometimes as business owners, people come to us to fix problems. And I think sometimes that makes it more difficult for us because we're used to fixing everything. And sometimes, we just have to let things happen and not necessarily try to fix everything. And I think that that's, something that's difficult at times. That's for sure.
Well, and I think, yes, and being in the moment is so important, whether it's being in the moment at work, when you're a single parent who has a business, you wear multiple hats and you're constantly multitasking. But it's important, to have designated times for just yourself. And I think daily rituals are super important. I think hobbies are super important. Fulfilling your own life, because once you're fulfilled and whole, then you can be a much better parent. You can be a much better leader at the office, a much better boss, a much better employer, much better employee, whatever role you have within your career or your job. But then focusing when you're home with the children, having those special moments with each of your children, doing something, it's not necessarily the quantity of time, it's the quality of time that matters. And for me, that was one of the things that was hard for me in the beginning, because, I was used to constantly, even when I was married, I was the one home all the time, taking care of my kids, doing everything, and most parents feel that way. And so when they have to, quote unquote, give up their child to that other parent for their parenting time, that's hard. It's like a piece of your heart is leaving you. And so then you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose them or this or that. And no, what it does is create that time that you are with them to be much more quality. And I've seen with my own clients, the parents actually becoming better parents because they can have more focused time with their children. And that's important to do.
Right. I think that as people and kind of just piggybacking off what you're saying, that quality of time and things like that. I think that when you go through something like this, sometimes you appreciate the time that you have and you try to make the most of it. And that is both, with your kids and also within, your business, and making sure that you're, that you're being diligent about what you're doing and purposeful about things that you're doing. And I think that that's important also.
It is. And I do see sometimes though, Gary, that parents get so hard on themselves if something doesn't work out just the way they planned it, like if on a particular parenting time day or an excursion or a vacation and it's not working out. And it's like, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay. You'll have that opportunity again. Take a deep breath. And, because sometimes things come up with the other parent or there's some, tension or fighting or disagreements or whatever, just take a breath and walk away. And my comment to people that they want to react right away is just, wait some time, give it a minute, maybe 24 hours before you respond to that angry text or email. And then you can resume, and then you'll have that time with your kids again. So just be patient.
Yeah. I think that, that comment that you made there about, waiting the 24 hours or a period of time, I think that's important, not just in dealing with a, ex-spouse or soon to be ex-spouse or anything, but that makes sense in business also.
Oh, for sure.
Because, many times you get that email that just infuriates you, but it's like, okay, hang on, I gotta calm down. Because I know when I was going through the process, lots of times I would find myself getting upset about something. But then when I kind of sat back and looked at it, it's like, okay, I'm not really upset about that. That was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. I got all this other stuff that, that was on me that made me want to react a certain way.
I think it's the word being mindful is very key. Having your mind be stronger than your emotions. Obviously it's good to have emotions. We learn what our body is telling us, and emotions are very good and healthy to listen to, because sometimes our body is our mind, right? But in these situations, it's so important to have your mind be very strong-minded and not fly off the handle, not let your emotions get the better of you in those situations. Like I said, sometimes it's good to have emotion and to lead by emotion in your heart. But a lot of times when it's dealing with other people, definitely, be very mindful, and your life will be a lot smoother. No, lot less drama, that's for
Right,
sure.
right. So, I mean, obviously you've gone through a lot with, wore a lot of different hats throughout your life here, professionally and personally. What is something that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
That things will be okay, not to stress so much, not to be so anxious, not to be so hard on myself, that people are people, and that you need to trust your own instincts. And everybody has an opinion, and that doesn't mean that you are lesser than, or your opinion is lesser than anyone else's, or your perspective. I tended to give away my power a lot and look to everybody else for feedback or their validation. And it's all within you. And you have to be your own best friend. You have to be everything for yourself first before you can really, you shouldn't look outside yourself for anything, that you can give it all to yourself.
And we talked about kids earlier. I mean, I think that that's something important for us to instill in our kids. And I think that would help them a lot with their anxiety and other things like that. It's like, and it's easy to say, but at, the younger ages, it's more difficult for them to do, but it's easy to say. It's like, look, don't worry about what everybody else is thinking or what they're saying. Worry about yourself. And I think that if we had more people that kind of followed down that path, I think that we would have a much better society, especially now going through, the pandemic that we've gone through for the past couple of years, and just the way that people are at each other.
Yes.
And, I always find that everybody's, allowed their opinion, and my opinion doesn't mean that yours is wrong, or yours doesn't mean that mine's wrong. And if we disagree, we disagree, but it's not, you don't need to be so combative, is what I feel.
Gary, I have people that I know in my life that aren't friends with someone anymore because of their opinion about the vaccine or wearing masks, or, right. And I think that's just horrible,
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, I mean, we could have open discussions about politics and not have it be so offensive to one another. And it's, to me, it shows a lack of maturity and a lack of emotional intelligence. If someone can't hear someone else's opinion without taking a personal offense to it, well, that's on them. If someone's so defensive or takes everything so personally that they can't be open-minded, then they're very, they just don't have that emotional depth to them, or the intelligence. There's no quality of depth, or, it's very judgmental, and I don't like that at all. And I think you're absolutely right. Our society is diminishing as a whole because people are so quick to judge other people. if everyone was a little more self-aware and had a little more depth of character to them and integrity, then, a little more confidence within themselves, they wouldn't care so much about what so-and-so is doing or thinking or believing. They wouldn't listen to every single media outlet out there. They would know what their personal beliefs are. And it's okay if so-and-so believes something else. It takes all types of people to make the world go round, so as long as you're not hurting anyone or doing anything illegal, immoral, whatever, then okay, just let it go.
Right. And I think that we need to get there because we're not there.
No.
And I think that that's something that I'm hoping as the pandemic ends and things starting to loosen up. Now I'm hoping that people are able to heal and kind of, go back to, not necessarily go back to, but learn to accept other people have other beliefs than they do.
And it's because, Gary, people don't take the time to think, okay, well, this person's perspective and perception is because of all of these things that he or she experienced in their lifetime.
Right.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has issues in their lives and troubles and turmoils. And what someone experienced in their life is, perhaps very traumatic to them. It might not have been so traumatic to you had you experienced it, because your life experiences are so different.
Right.
So everybody brings to the table their own emotions, their own subconscious minds, their own thoughts and feelings. And so everybody views things very differently. And that's the beauty of humanity.
Right.
And I wish more people saw everybody as equal and everybody as equal in terms of no one's better than anybody else.
Right.
So just because their opinion is different doesn't mean it's better or worse or lesser than. We all have our opinions and we're all entitled to them.
We've kind of run through a bunch of
I know, we've kind of covered the gamut.
It's been great.
No law, really. We haven't really talked much about the law.
Right. But again, I think that the life coaching side of it, in helping, business owners. I mean, I know I have a couple different coaches that help me in different parts of my business and things like that. And I think that lots of times, business owners just feel that, okay, I got to do everything on my own. And it's like, they got to understand that, you can have other people that are out there that are helping you, and maybe they're going to bring a new perspective to things that you may not have seen that are going to help you in the long run. And I think that that's where the life coaching side of things, and you're able to mix that with law and with business, I think is pretty powerful.
Thank you, Gary. It takes time for someone who's used to doing everything on their own. I mean, I'm one of them. I mean, I had nobody I could rely on.
Right.
And you have to learn that, yes, in the short term, it might take a little more time to explain something to somebody. And, they might not do it exactly the way you're doing it, or they might not get it right, the way you want it, or it's not going to be done maybe to your specifications, but at least it's getting done. Right. And at least it's going to free you up in the long run to do other things that really warrant more of your time. And it's important to delegate, and it's important to learn that you can do more things and accomplish way more if you delegate and learn to give up some of that control and just to let it go and just to go fly and do it. Because if you're so control oriented and focused on doing everything yourself, then you're not going to grow as a business. You're not going to grow as a person, and you're certainly not going to be able to multitask to be that hands-on parent and the great leader at the office.
Right. I totally agree with that. If our listeners like what they've heard and they want to reach out to you for any of the topics that we've talked about, how can they get in touch with you?
Gary, they can find me at my law firm, which is croninlawfirm.com. And they can reach out there if they have any legal matter that they want, or even personal coaching. But I also have my own personal brand website, and that's sabrinashaheen.com. And my last name is on that site is my maiden name, and that's SHAHEEN.com. And they can sign up for any kind of workshop or personalized coaching. And I can coach many different people through a myriad of problems. I also have a little niche where if someone has a legal matter and they need me as a consultant on both a legal and personal level, I can do that in any state. I can help them with their legal matter, and I can talk to their lawyer. A lot of times it saves a lot of legal fees as well for them, because I can kind of help them understand things better in a way that maybe their lawyer doesn't have time for.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we really thank you for your time today and all of your wisdom.
Thank you, Gary. It's been great. I've enjoyed it as well.
Great. Our guest today was Sabrina Cronin, who's the founder of Cronin Law Firm. We'll see you guys next week.